Hello everyone, welcome back. This episode of Bitcoin Trade. I'm not going to do any chart analysis or any talk about any news or any events. Um, no crazy, well, maybe a little crazy theory, but once in a while I like to just kind of give my feedback and thoughts of what what it's like to trade bitcoins or interact with bitcoins or use bitcoins and how that's uh, affected my life. I like to personally say it's changed my life, um, but obviously there might be some people out there who have a different experience than I do. But I want to share my experience, and um, you know, uh, trading Bitcoin the way I trade Bitcoins, not only trading on the exchange, um, or just I'm talking about overall in using Bitcoin, trading it on a peer-to-peer level, over the internet, even in meetups, um, just a general. Uh, there's a lot of components that come in, interacting with sellers, interacting with buyers, interacting with just what I would call entities, because you never know who you're dealing with, and it it's it's a strange way to interact uh, in a virtual reality in that way, um, because you know I've said this many times that you could be everywhere and nowhere. You could be everybody and nobody. That applies for other people as well. And I've had entities come at me. Some even try to, I wouldn't say attack me physically in any way, but in a virtual way. And you know, just as I mentioned before about how you need to build your army. Other people can do that too. Other entities can build their armies as well. Um, and so when you trade in Bitcoin, one of the things you're going to experience is you're going to get into conflict with other entities. And some of these entities are not friendly. They're hostile. Some are friendly and would be considered a friend or an ally. Um, but this is a different experience. I would compare it to, um, I guess you can say it's kind of like a Dungeons and Dragons kind of concept mixed in with online role play slash multiplayer. Um, I mean, if you trade in Bitcoin, you kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about. And this is a part of Bitcoin that is not going to be, you're not going to get any news reports, or there may not be any books about it, um, or maybe even any videos. Um, this is an experience that you just have to do. You have to get into it to get the experience. And so, if you've seen any of my previous videos, you've seen me talk a lot about, building your army, bearing arms. What else? The secret war. Um, I talk about a lot of crazy things, and they're real to me. They're real to me because I'm experiencing those things. For other people, they may not be real to you, or they may be real. You may be experiencing these things when you start trading Bitcoin. Um, But I I often think there's uh, I I do know that there are entities out there that come and attack me. Um, Again, not physically, but virtually. And you know, you definitely have the right to defend yourself. And so, the point I'm trying to get at is, I'm doing a lot of things that may be viewed to others as a threat. Now, whether it's an established entity, other people in Bitcoin space, or just other people in general, when you start trading and you become a part of this ecosystem and become a part of the whole Bitcoin, there's so many different, I guess you could say, factions of Bitcoin, what people think and what they believe what it is and what it should be and what their idea what it is, that it may differ from what you think, and some of your ideals and your beliefs in what you do will clash with others. Now, others meaning whether it's in the Bitcoin space or whether it's people who are against Bitcoin. I mean, there's so many things going on, and the weird part is you never know who it is because they're invisible. It's an invisible army. It's an invisible force. It's an invisible entity. And it's a virtual reality experience. And, until you start mastering that concept of these invisible entities, these virtual entities, until you start mastering that, you can go crazy. So, but one of the things that you've got to do if you're going to get into trading Bitcoin, especially on a peer-to-peer level, is you got to understand what's going on. And the more you understand, the more you're able to be prepared. That's just my experience. And so, some of the things that I'm doing is, I guess you could say it's out there. It's pretty crazy. But, for me, a lot of people, I guess, would view what I'm doing is kind of crazy. But at the same time, through my eyes and the way I see things, it's not that crazy at all. And I'm trying to get to a point where I'm trying to say is, some of the things that I'm doing, it's a lot of misdirection. Some things you have to learn about interacting with unknown entities or virtual entities and whatnot is because you never know who they really are. The only thing you do know is what they're doing, or what they're trying to do, or what they're attempting to do. And the only way you know if it's a foe or an ally is to constantly test their actions, or take a gauge of their actions. And one of the things to do is to misdirect. And based on what they do on that misdirection, you can kind of tell whether they're your friend or their foe, or what their intentions are, or what they're trying to do. Because at some point, you do have to reveal your hand, because that's what Bitcoin kind of makes you do. It makes you reveal your hand. And the toughest part about this is to stay strong when you trade Bitcoins, because you will be tested all the time. All the time. There's going to be entities out there that are testing you, misdirecting you, deceiving you. There's also entities out there who are helping you and trying to guide you back to a way that I think you would know is the right way. I'm just trying to give you my experience with Bitcoin trading. Okay, and now some of this may never apply to most of you, because all you're doing is just using it to buy stuff or send money. What I'm doing is I'm trying to create a whole new world. I'm trying to actually, maybe not even create a whole new world. I'm trying to bring forth a whole new world. Maybe that world already exists, and it's just waiting for us, or waiting for me. Who knows? It may just be for me to experience. I'm not sure. I think that's kind of foolish to think that I'm just experiencing this. I'm sure there's others out there who are getting some experience from this, and that it's a common and shared experience. It's not just unique to what I'm experiencing. One of the reasons why I kind of do make these videos. I'll give you. I'm gonna try to give you another example. Like, I'm always, and I've always done this. I don't know why, but I've always challenged my limitations. I've always pushed the limitations of what can or can't be done. And it's not because I'm trying to get away with something, or I'm doing something wrong. And this is kind of where I'm trying to get at, is I'm pushing limitations or restrictions, not because I want to do something, mischievous or wrong or devious in any way. I'm pushing them because I'm trying to push the boundaries of things, so it can open the gates for others. I'm trying to break through a barrier that's been set up to prevent entities from passing through. I can only say entities. And I'll give you an example. Sometimes I know I get long-winded here, but I'm trying to make a point where it kind of makes sense. And the example I'm going to give is like, and I've given this example before, where people used to think, running a mile under 4 or 5 minutes was impossible until someone did it. And I guess it's always in our human nature to do this. Ever since people, left their home surroundings, left their cave, went over the mountain, crossed the oceans, finally into space. What kind of limitations can you go through? Test the boundaries. And it's not to, again, prevent or do anything wrong. It's to open the gates, to break the barriers. And I'm talking not only just on an individual level, but I'm talking about a racial barrier, a social barrier, an economic barrier that's kind of been put up by another entity, another force, to prevent others from going through. And that's one of the things that I'm doing, and I believe that's one of the reasons that I'm being attacked. And when you start trading and you do this and then you're trying to achieve a purpose, a goal, and my goal is to challenge the barrier, the restrictions placed on everyone, and to break through those barriers, to break through those restrictions, to open the gates, and so that everyone, not just me, but everyone can pass through. And I'm just giving you an example of the first person to run a mile under, I think, 4 minutes or something like that, or I don't know, 5 minutes, whatever. And once people realize that it can be done, once you break that barrier and you open those gates, other people will follow. And that's what I'm trying to do with Bitcoin. And it's challenging. It's challenging because there's resistance. It feels like there's some entity out there giving you resistance every step of the way, at every chance, at every turn. And it just feels that way. Don't know why. So I just want to share that experience. And what I'm trying to do is I'm really trying to bring forth the new world. I talked about how at some point the world turns over and you flip over, you turn over, and you're no longer descending, but you're ascending. And when you start ascending and you start flying up, you can almost see. First at first it's at first when you fall through the rabbit hole, it's so dark, and you feel like you're falling. But once you realize you're not falling, you were never really falling. You're really ascending. You're flying all this time. And you'll see a little beam of light, and that's pretty much going to be your North Star. And you're going to follow it, and then as you get closer and you get closer, it becomes apparent. What it's an opening. It's an opening to the new world. And then when you get closer and closer, and you ascend higher and higher, you start seeing the new world. And it's almost like almost a catch-21. It's like it's there, it's so close, but it's still far away. But at least for me, I can see it. And the fact that I can see it, I know that it exists, that it's real, that I can make it real. And it's about breaking barriers at this point. It's about opening the gates so that not only I can go through, but you can go through, and that everyone can go through. Now that I've said that, I have to admit, everyone can go through, but it doesn't mean that you will go through. Not everyone is going to make it. Some, I would say, a lot of people just will choose not to. But for those that do, I mean, it's not going to be an easy journey. You have to stay strong, stand tall and straight, and in your name bear witness, and that'll be your testimony. I'll also even add to the end of that that the truth will set you free. And so, I just want to share that experience. A lot of things that I'm doing may not make a lot of sense right now. And for anyone out there who's trying to make sense of it, you will never make sense of it, because it's not something that you can just watch and observe or copy or mimic. It's something you just have to go through. You have to go through this yourself in order to go through the gates, to go through the barrier. And they've been set up to prevent you to going through. In my opinion, I mean, it just feels that way. It's kind of an interesting experience to experiencing this. It's not something that you can just, even if I talk about it and explain it, it's so strange. Especially for someone who has no idea what the hell I'm talking about to understand, until you experience this yourself. And only then at that point, if you look back, it kind of makes sense now. And it almost seems like I'm wasting my time making these videos because they just fall on deaf ears. But I'm just compelled to make them. I'm compelled to make this video. And, I just hope someone's listening. So anyways, that's something I just want to share. A lot of things I'm doing is to break through the barriers, break through the gates, open the gates, and then not only you, not only me, but everyone can pass through. Doesn't mean that you will pass through, because chances are, it's my opinion, that a lot of people will not pass through. A lot of people, a lot of entities will be left behind. So that's my opinion on it. I mean, I hope everyone does. So anyways, if this doesn't make any sense, sorry, you wasted your time watching this video. There's no chart analysis here, there's no news, nothing educational. It's just me talking, expressing myself, trying to, talk about my experience with Bitcoin, how it's changed my life. A lot of people may think I do this just for the money and only for the money, and there's money involved, but this is beyond money. And when you start trading so much and you start coming through, and your life becomes different, and your conversion into Bitcoin is complete, you realize money is just an illusion, and hopefully you'll see that. And trading Bitcoins, it means something else. It becomes something else. It becomes greater than what you ever thought for me anyway, I don't know about you, but for me, it's become greater than whatever I thought I was getting really into. Much greater. And so it's taken on a whole new, different meaning for me that it's hard for me to explain. And it may be hard for those of you who are watching this to understand. But if you go through this experience, you will understand. And I hope someone out there is going through this similar experience, because I know there's got to be more people out there other than me experiencing this. I mean, I think it's just foolish to think that I'm just the only one. There's got to be out there. There's got to be other people. And I hope that you can leave a message, something. Is anybody even watching this? So anyways, I guess I should just conclude this episode. Feel free to like, dislike, please leave a comment, even do a video response. Until next time, stay tuned. Bye now.